you, and welcome to the Rules and Public Policy meeting. This evening, it will only be myself and Mary Jo and Marjorie. So I have been promising meeting minutes to be updated forever, so I have an idea, actually. I'd like to cancel the meeting in July now. And hopefully I could actually either get some rest or do some work in July and get all caught up, and I'll put everything back there in a binder and email it to Christian, and then I can wash my hands of the whole thing. Does anybody?
You speak into the microphone.
Oh, that would be helpful, wouldn't it? Testing. So now that everybody can actually hear me, I'm thinking about canceling the July meeting now, and I was just wondering what you guys think about that.
I feel like it might be a little early to know what might be on the burner in July. Oh, sorry.
I mean,
I did the same thing.
I wasn't even trying to hint at you. I just like to talk. I don't know. I mean, I think, because do we even really, I just wouldn't want you to, like, put the cart before the horse. Because if we don't quite know how we're going to set it up back there, I don't want you to do all this beautiful work and set it up into a beautiful binder and then have to, like, redo it in a couple months when we inevitably change our minds. So I just don't want to put more work on you, but I understand why you would want to do that. So, that's up to you.
What about, well, I guess we can wait on the meeting cancellation. I do want to go ahead and put everything in a binder and put it back there, though, because I'm just kind of, I don't know. I was reading some Court of Appeals opinions and seeing one of our former colleagues suing a lot of local governments.
For Open Meetings Act? For
Mhm. And other little violations. So,
you have time to fix it,
yeah, well,
even if he was,
yeah,
or
well,
anyone
yeah,
was.
I know, but I just want to get ahead of it.
Oh, yeah, I don't blame
Yeah,
you.
and now that I'm on board with summer session, I just would like to have a summer session for my committee too.
Look at you.
I don't blame you.
Talk about flipping the
I
coin.
know, flip-flop, huh? I just went completely from one side to the other.
Hey,
Like,
you're allowed to change your mind.
I know, I am all for summer session now, for sure, absolutely. I cannot wait for summer session. It cannot get here quickly enough. Okay, all right, so there's that. I would like to talk back again about Surface Pro computers, and it's really a shame that Miss Dewald is not here, because she has a computer provided by the city. Do you have one provided by the
This
city?
is,
Yep,
that's what ours
I
is.
do.
Okay, so can you guys explain to me what that, it is definitely
So-
not a Surface Pro.
So I own a Surface Pro as my personal laptop. I mean, this computer is nothing like it. A Surface Pro has touchscreen. A Surface Pro has a much longer battery life. A Surface Pro is a much more flexible item, literally.
Quality
And-
product.
Yes, it's a much more quality product. Then it'll also last longer. I mean, these, if you have somebody who takes good care of them, internally and externally, I mean, you'll be fine for, I don't know, 5-10 years. But I mean, if you have somebody who doesn't really know what they're doing on a computer or just doesn't take care of it physically, I mean, it's not going to last you very long. And I mean, this is fine for me, whatever, it's fine. My issue with it is that in the piece of legislation that we passed, it specifically says Surface Pro or equally as good
Blend,
product.
I
and
think that I think that when we gave any kind of leeway, it was too much leeway.
Mm-hmm.
So I think And I know that we purchased these computers, but if they don't work, I mean, if they don't work very well, it's not really doing what it was designed to do. So, and I'm only saying that because now I need a separate device from my work computer. And I want us to have something that works.
I mean,
So,
they're gonna work. It's not gonna be what you want it to
I
be.
want it to work very well.
No,
It is my understanding the decision was made not by council, by administration, and that decision was, from
Like-
what I understand, based on price. This was the lowest price. Not lowest and best, the way you're supposed to evaluate, just lowest.
So my question is, can we go back and say, we don't want these, we want Surface Pro computers,
so
that's
then
what we want.
that's gonna be even more money. I mean, I don't know if we have money to do that.
If we don't have money to do that, we have got bigger problems than
Yeah.
any of us know about. Because
Yep.
we should have, we should be over $500,000 to the good. And certainly they won't cost that. I'm just saying, I don't know why we wouldn't have the money to do that. And I'm not trying to say be frivolous or
Right.
anything, but
No,
this
right.
is, I mean, poor Miss Dewald has, her email acting all strange and funny.
That more has to do, though, that doesn't have to do with this device. I mean, all this device does is hold that stuff. I mean, that has to do more with like internal stuff that somebody else is gonna have to fix. That's still gonna be an issue, no matter what the computer is. So I feel like the issues that we wanna fix, I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong, I really don't like these computers, but the issues that we want fixed aren't gonna be fixed with new computers, if that makes sense. Like what's
The
gonna
issues that she's experiencing.
the issue that Miss Dewald is experiencing, yeah, I mean, like, I hate the lighting on this computer. I feel like you have to put it all the way back here to see it, and like, I dislike how long the battery life is, as you see me over here constantly charging, and
The
I mean, there are a
keyboard
lot
isn't
of,
even the same. The placement of the keys is not the same as my
no, it's not.
HP laptop at home.
And yeah, that stuff is
It's-
annoying, but that stuff isn't gonna make the computer not work.
Right, it's just slows me down.
Right,
Yeah, you're right. I can make it work.
yeah. So
It's
I
the
feel
ease of
like,
making
I
it
mean,
work.
yeah, I think that it was a stupid decision for administration to not just follow the law that was passed by us, sure. But I mean,
But
here we
Yeah.
are.
kind of did when we gave leeway. I just feel like maybe we just don't give any leeway.
Yeah, next time, for sure, but I feel like we already have these. I think it would be frivolous to spend our money on new computers when, I mean, like, we can make these ones work.
As minimal as I use this, I can make this
Yep.
work for me.
Me too.
Okay,
That's kind of where I am.
Yeah.
all right, well,
If this was my full-time job, and I had to,
Oh,
I would be
be
incredibly
furious.
frustrated with
Yeah.
this device. But as much as I use it, because if I really need to do something, you know what, I'm not gonna tell you what I do, because I'm on camera. But I have found workarounds that make it easier for me to avoid this device.
I just feel like we shouldn't always have to be using workarounds and,
Oh, I agree.
getting Scotch tape to tape up the hole in the wall, and
Mhm.
I have to bring my own fan because it's hot in this room, and,
Yep.
just like,
But I think we need to take that and then put it towards what we do, because I feel like a lot of times, we'll be talking about something and somebody will mention that, like, hey, no, I wanna make sure this is done right, and then people are told that they're, being mean, or that they're, I don't know, digging into the past, and they're focusing on the past, and I feel like we need to change that narrative and just say, well, no, we're just trying to make sure it's done right, because that's our jobs.
okay, so there's a new person coming, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
That person may need a device. So my question for you guys is, do
There's
they
more-
get
I
that?
believe there's more of these in there.
There is.
There are more of those, really?
That was
There's
my impression.
one for each seat.
Yep.
There's one for each seat.
That is terrible. Okay. So something that depreciates like that was purchased
That-
at that moment.
You might want to clarify, but that was my understanding when it happened. Is that the way you understood it, Marjorie?
Yes,
What kind of device is that?
these. Oh, this?
I don't even know how to pronounce that. Lenovo?
Lenovo? Never heard of it.
I've heard of Lenovo, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, Lenovo.
Lenovo. There you go. It'll work for what you want it to do. It will. It won't be as cute as that little device that you have there.
Okay. All right. Sure. Okay,
I would, if you are going to get one of the spare devices,
I am not. I am going to go buy myself a Surface Pro. But I thought that I would,
I love mine.
yes. I think that that is what I'm going to do, and I'll just use it for both. No.
what I was
just-
going to recommend is to make sure that you get the Office loaded, because the ones that, when they were originally purchased, did not have the Office suite, the Microsoft Office suite.
Well, I wonder if
So
you
you
would-
can't read any legislation without it.
Of
I
course.
wonder if you would be able to have your Office suite downloaded to your Service Pro that you get.
I have the
I doubt it.
360. I have a subscription that I purchased
Right.
for
Okay.
my office. So like a family subscription. So I can put it on 5 different devices.
Right.
Hello, Madam Mayor.
Hello.
Wonderful.
Spectacular.
Good.
Did you get my agenda? Okay. Okay, all right, well, I will respect everybody else's opinion about that, but I still think that is a terrible thing, so,
Mm-hmm.
there we go. All right. Let's see. Where am I doing? Okay. What? Old business. So our legislative procedure, we were talking a lot about that, and we still haven't really figured that out. Do we know?
Why don't we just make a decision? Why do we keep batting this around?
I think that we should just have the ability to put it on the website, just upload it into something, a database, and then it's just there, and
I
then
thought
we
we
can look
did-
at there.
I thought we decided that the
Yeah, we
vice
did-
chairs were gonna do that part, didn't? Or did I make that up in my head?
I think that was right. So I think the things that we still have to decide, because last time, if I recall, we decided we still wanted like a third, like, digital copy of it somewhere, given, we're planning on changing the website, and if websites collapse, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And then, there was a big push to still have the physical copy, and we would organize that back there, and Mary Jo and I volunteered to work on that this summer, and then whoever the vice chair of the committee would put it on the website. So whoever the vice chair is would upload it to the shared drive, which, we can do that on OneDrive, and then would upload it to the website, and then would print it out and put it back there in the file. So I think for the time being, maybe we just have, like, I don't know, a binder for each committee, and then for regular council, whoever the co-chair is, just add it to there until we can get around to it this summer and
It doesn't even
reorganize
have
it.
to be that formal. It can be a files, what are they called? The little file sleeves, and
Manual
Yeah,
file or
definitely.
you know
something.
what I'm,
Yeah, yeah,
this little file folder, and
Yeah.
just slide it in and be done.
totally. I just mean until we get around to reorganizing it this summer. But yeah,
Are you referring to your committee?
Minutes and agendas.
Mhm.
Personally, just because I've been a clerk my opinion would be that you will handle it the same way that you do your other minutes. With the posting as well. I heard you say just file them, but, I don't know.
We were gonna do 3.
We're gonna do, yeah, we're gonna add it to a
things.
shared drive and then have somebody post it on the website and then a physical copy back there.
Because with the regular minute meetings, when I did it, I kept it on a drive. I had to post it, I put it on the website,
Yeah, we just need access to the
and
website.
then it had to go, there was always was supposed to be a file cabinet kept in the administrative office in case someone came off the street.
Yeah,
And then there's always.
Was that for committee minutes too?
See, they didn't turn them in. They weren't turning them in.
So committee minutes weren't in there, but committee minutes were
So
in
I'm
there.
just saying as a
Are
suggestion.
you taking minutes now, by the
Yeah.
way? I
You
forgot to ask.
probably
Thank you,
should,
sorry.
in the same
fine.
format, have one there and one locked up like you have those locked up.
yeah, we were just talking about.
That's just a suggestion.
No, yeah, I mean, that's what we talked about last time, and like having the shared drive, because, you know, websites aren't always reliable. We're planning on switching the website soon, so we wanna make sure we have a backup, and just a backup in general, I think is always good. But I mean, can't we do a shared drive on OneDrive?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's just do that.
We'll just set up a shared drive. I'll do that filing. I'll do all that file folders set up on OneDrive.
Perfect.
Make sure it's shared amongst all of us.
Perfect.
I'll set that up.
Actually, I hope my mom is watching this because she was just going through a bunch of office supplies today, and we have a ton of file folders that I will bring in for us. Mom, if you're watching, you're welcome. And so we got that covered.
Okay, so I did notice that there's a North College Hill OneDrive. Is that what you're talking about? I did notice that.
Exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay,
Yes,
all right.
ma'am.
And the North College Hill OneDrive, I can see it sometimes and sometimes I can't. Do you know why that is?
Wait, what was that again? I'm
You should
sorry.
Well,
North College Hill OneDrive.
I honestly have never even looked into that. How do I find that?
go to your file folder,
Okay.
and it should show up as a cloud. It says OneDrive dash North College Hill.
Yep, I got it.
It's probably because of how I'm accessing.
So, are you gonna organize that, you said, Mary Jo?
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
And then what is the, like, format of the file, name that we wanna put under there? Under the website? Does there need to be like a format? Cause I feel like that'll look
Yep.
better than it just being,
I would say year, then month.
year, period, month? Cause
Sure.
you can't, okay.
Yep.
So, year, period, month. Wait, year first?
Yes.
For all the files. So do you want to do a year with
Per
a
committee.
folder with the year, like do minutes 2022 and then have that as a folder?
We can do it
You
that
know
way.
what I mean? That way we're not,
You
And
can
then-
have tabs at the bottom for each different committee.
Yeah, why don't we do like the year, like the way I organize on my computer, which makes sense to me, but we can do however, is I do a big folder with year, and then in that folder is each committee, and then in each committee are the minutes, and like a folder for minutes and folder for agendas.
I do the exact opposite. I do the folder, one folder for each committee. Then within that committee, there's a folder for the year. And then in that year, it's
Okay,
broken. So,
That works
I
for
mean,
me.
either way, it doesn't matter.
yeah, that works for me. But for like when we're uploading the file, what do you want me to name the file? Like for these minutes specifically, how would I name
Well,
it?
I want to do it the same as we do it on the website.
Exactly.
And I thought the website, where, God, can't I get this?
Yeah, I just want to make sure it's formatted. I feel like that'll look more professional,
I think
and it'll
so,
be
too.
easier for people to find and for us to find.
Yep.
So the way well, I guess we wouldn't have to have the year on it. But I think
Well,
it
we can just
helps.
make sure we put the year,
Do you want to know how I put mine?
separate them by year in a folder, though.
I put in rules and public policy meeting minutes 4.25.22.
That's exactly what I do.
For the website?
I've never uploaded, I don't have access to the website
I
Okay,
don't have
but-
access to the website either. That's how I save it on my computer.
on my computer.
But it's not gonna all follow sequentially then.
So then how about we do,
That's why I was suggesting year then month.
right, you're so smart. Let's do 22, 4, 25. So year, month, day.
We don't need the day, because you only have one meeting a month.
Okay.
Or do, instead
Well,
of
because the other thing is,
22
it's not that big, so if we, you know, what I mean, we're gonna fill up the line item, and then it's gonna be wrapping around, it's gonna.
Yeah, I don't want to do just 22, though. I want to do 2022.
Okay.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
Okay,
that works.
so-
Okay.
Four-digit year.
So,
What am I writing?
4-digit year,
Let me save it on here right now so that I know how it's,
2022 dot, and then the month,
Month,
right?
2-digit month, and then the committee name.
and we're spelling it all the way out.
Ooh, do we have to? Because yours is super long.
It's so long. How do I go about changing a committee name?
I'm on board with that.
Acronyms, or,
City Community Development and Recreation Committee?
Change it to that.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'll type it all
Well,
out.
it
It's
used to be
really
two
not big.
separate committees, and then they combined.
Well, that's actually probably better.
Right.
Okay, so I'm doing 2022-04, and then a space,
no,
And then
2022 dot,
right,
month,
04, and then
Dot.
rules and, oh, what?
dot.
Okay, another dot.
Hang on, do we want to put either minutes or agenda first, or that at the end?
Oh, you're right.
I like that better. I like it at the
I like
beginning.
that.
So then I'll put minutes,
So 2022 dot month dot minutes.
dot, rules and public policy. Do I put rules and
Or-
public policy
or
committee?
instead of putting it in the name, make the folders. Like minutes in a folder. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
Use the folders, that way the names aren't so long.
Okay,
Except then your minutes and agendas aren't gonna be, like, together.
No, they'll be separate, for sure.
so all I'm making the title is 2022
This shouldn't be this hard.
period 04.
It shouldn't be, but we want it to be,
It doesn't seem
we
important, but it
just
is
want it to
important.
make, yeah, we just want it to make sense,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
And we want it to be easy.
Okay, so the overall big file name is going to be rules and public policy, right?
Okay.
The folder name.
Right.
And then in that folder, there are going to be 2 more folders, agendas and minutes. Am I following this?
Wait, but
I don't
before,
like that.
wait.
I'm
She-
just,
She doesn't like that.
That's
Well,
fine.
I understand. She wants them
Something
together.
that Say committees, and then you click on committees, and then it'll go down and it'll say rules and public policy.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I want.
right, click it.
And when I click on that, then I'll see agendas from September umpteen,
Right,
blah, blah, blah.
right,
You know, it'll
Right.
fall in.
right. So, big overall file folder name, committees. And that folder, there's each committee. Then I go to rules and public policy, and in there are all the documents. There are no other folders in there. And the documents are named 2022.04. Minutes or agenda. Full year, period, 2-digit month, period, minutes and agenda.
Yeah, and then that way, if you put the name of the committee on the folder, then the minutes and the agenda, you don't have to have the name of the committee in the name next to minutes and agenda.
Yep.
Does that make sense?
So following the order.
Yeah, it would still follow.
So right now, what's already existing out here, it says city council, you click on that, and then there's announcements, I don't know what's in there, and then committee meetings, and then the next folder is city community development, finance, recreation, and cultural, something, let me slide that over.
So the committees aren't even updated. No.
City and community development and recreation, finance committee, recreation and culture committee documents, rules, laws, public
All
policy
of that
committee,
needs to be updated.
safety committee.
Oh,
Yep.
jeez. Okay.
That's what's in there now.
So we gotta get changed to public safety.
we need to change that, because that needs to be 4 folders instead of all of that. And
Well,
We don't have a safety committee anymore.
Right, well, we have just public safety. So it'll be public safety, and then rules and public policy, and then whatever, community development.
city community development and recreation, and I think that old community and culture or whatever, I think that has to stay, because technically we have to keep our documents forever and ever, right?
No, we just need to come up with a guideline or a policy about how long we keep our documents and keep it for that long.
Gotcha, okay, so,
I can tell you these are only from 2017, so these
Gotcha.
are gonna have to stay.
No, yeah,
I'm pretty sure.
so then we'll keep that in there, I think that sounds fine.
okay.
Okay, so,
You know what we could do? We could add an archived folder and
Okay,
move the
yes.
older ones into an
To
archive folder.
There we go.
I like that.
I like that a lot. So we
Okay.
have an archive folder.
I'm gonna be honest, these aren't my most detailed minutes, I'm really sorry to everybody. Just apologies ahead of time, I've been talking a
A
lot.
real working committee.
Yeah, okay, so just to make
Got it.
sure,
So if it's one of these older committees, I'll create an archive folder and we'll move the older ones
Okay.
into that. And we'll just
Okay.
have our 4 existing committees with the correct names.
I'm gonna have to find so many old minutes. Oh my gosh. I can do it. Okay. Can we get access to the website at some point this week? To start uploading this kind of stuff? Just access to upload files?
I'll need a login to make changes to this. Can you make that happen, Mr. Mosby?
Okay.
Thank
He
you.
said, just in case Mike didn't hear, he said he'll talk to us about it afterwards.
And she'll go rogue and post pictures of her dog.
Yeah, that's actually what I was planning on doing. She is the face of North College Hill. Have you seen her? She's my background on the North College Hill fire engine.
All right, let's move on.
Okay,
I just messed that up. Send it to your clerk. She wanna post dogs.
All right.
okay.
So then how, do we want to then talk about I'm sorry, I'm taking over your committee, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna ask if you wanted to talk about how long we need to keep documents for.
That's
Maybe we
not
can
to
put
be-
that under new business.
We already figured, I thought we,
We didn't, well, but we can make a decision since we're making decisions.
No, it's a law.
yeah,
It's a law.
it's not, this isn't a,
I thought that as long as we
I can't
didn't,
even think of what it's called.
we, records retention.
Thank you.
Yes, records
Thank you very
retention
much.
policy,
Right,
but
but
we
don't
don't
we
have
have our
one. What, yeah, we have to have our own.
Yeah,
No,
Everything's included in that.
last time we looked, I'm pretty sure,
I thought it was
Matt
like,
looked
it was
into it.
something unreasonable.
yeah, it was like forever and always.
every time I have to deal with files at the school, that's unreasonable.
Well, it depends on,
Yeah,
for
it's
example,
certain.
you all in committees.
Do you want to talk in the mic, sorry, so people can hear you?
For example, in the committees that you all have, those are discussions and perhaps even recommendations, but those are not official acts. So they would not have the same retention period that ordinances and resolutions and official acts of city council would have.
I'm trying to think, make sure. Some of them are like 10 to 15 years. Some of them are, some of the craziest stuff you have to keep indefinitely.
Yeah,
And-
see, I thought that there was, that we could create our own retention policy.
Mm-hmm.
I thought.
I thought so too. Last time we looked into it, I thought Matt looked into it for us.
How
Right.
about if we ask Mr. Dieters?
We
Okay.
do
Try
pay
to
him.
pull up the retention.
But I thought he
Yeah, but, yeah, the
the way
one we
he just
have
said
is, there
that.
is one for us, for North College Hill, but we think it's unreasonable. We thought it was unreasonable, because I think it said like forever or something like that, or
Do you-
25 years or
It
something.
does.
Would you care to send an email to Mr. Dieters and ask him what the records retention is for? Because Mr. Mosby's indicating that it's not the same for this.
But I
So
know
can
every,
you ask him to clarify what
Yes,
our committee minutes and agendas record retention is? Is it the same as the big legal? I am not using my words very well.
That's okay. I'll send him an email.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. I'm gonna put that under new business, record retention.
Okay, so since we talked about legislative procedure and the process for committee minutes and meetings, I'll just go ahead and put those into
I
one.
think we made a decision. I'm really excited about that.
I am too.
So, do I need to leave it on the agenda? Because at one point, we agreed to leave everything on the agenda until we got it fixed.
Until we saw it through
Yeah,
fruition.
I
Yes.
say we leave it on there until we, because
Until
what
we-
if we start digging into this and that doesn't
And it
Right.
doesn't
work right, and we gotta
Okay.
tweak it? So I'll
All
leave
right.
it there for a minute.
Another thing that we had with the legislative procedure was that like legislative checklist thing, you just remember what I'm talking about?
Oh, right.
Yeah, so then.
Where is that form? Do we have that form?
Yeah, we have it like all well and good, and then I don't remember how we let off on it last time.
Did we present it to Mr. Mosby?
Oh, he wasn't here last time. That's why we didn't talk to him about it. I will pull it up right now and print out a copy for everybody.
That's probably why that's not happening. We didn't follow through.
So we're gonna do that. We'll give that to Mr. Mosby for a test run, right?
Where is print?
But don't you think it would still fall under this because it is a council?
That was a good form. I liked it. It's a great idea.
Oh, I remember where we left off on it. Arias was going to try to turn it into an editable PDF where we can fill in the
Oh,
answers
I see.
right.
Thank you.
She had messaged me about it a week or two ago and said that she was working on it, but I haven't heard from her since. So I don't know if we can message her and ask her about it. So all the things that are, big capital would be editable. Or like in parentheses / capitalized.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And then obviously, some things wouldn't apply all the time. Like, you know, sometimes there might not be an expenditure. Sometimes there might not be a line item. Sometimes there might not be a fiscal impact summary.
And what is this again?
Whenever new legislation is brought before council, this would help answer all the questions that we usually bombard Mr. Mosby with. Maybe if this were filled out prior, when it's, like when the legislation is given to us, it might resolve a lot of those questions
Or,
ahead of time.
yeah, or to committee, like if.
Yep.
If, you know, like a cleanup ordinance is coming to the finance committee, you know, this just going along with it so that we understand what we're looking at. And the more important thing is that this is done in clear English and not in legislative English.
Okay. That is, I think we're good.
Did somebody reach out to Arias? If not, I can.
She is in a training, so I
Right,
don't know
you're right.
if she is going to be able to respond right this moment. But I can certainly email her.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Who came up with these, I'm sorry,
So they
this
were,
form, the background information?
so it was, we kind of stole it, legally from Trenton, and their city council. And then at a committee like 2 months ago, 3 months ago, we kind of sat there and picked it apart and discussed what we liked on it, what we didn't like on it. And then I went home, I took all of our suggestions, wants and needs, and made a new copy, and this was what came out.
I believe Mr. Mosby was at that first one
Yes.
when we were dissecting it.
He was,
And-
and he showed approval for it then. I'm not sure what his opinion is now, but
I'm sorry, say that again.
he showed approval for it then. We were all really excited about it and felt like a great idea.
Because we also even asked him if he needed any type of legislation to enact this, and he said no, he'd welcome it, and fill it out then. I don't want to be paraphrasing him, he is in the room. We're talking about him when he's in the room, but I believe that's how I recall it anyhow.
Why is it called a staff report?
That's just what it was called on the other thing.
You can change the name.
Yeah, we can change the name.
Would you like it to be called?
Not staff report.
I think the reason we stuck with staff report is because it isn't always gonna be reported from administration, if that makes sense. Like if a committee is backing a piece of proposed legislation, and that wouldn't be like an administrative report, you know what I mean? So I think that's why we stuck with the name, if I recall right.
We can
but-
just take the word staff out and just call it report.
Yeah, legislation
City
report.
council legislation report.
Yep, that works for me. I'll take it out.
Yep.
You see it's at the top too.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay, all right. Moving right along. So we have our possible process for, legislative procedure was different from process for committee meeting minutes and agendas. I see that we were just talking about that when I was putting the notes next to the wrong thing. The legislative procedure, I think, is this legislation report.
Mhm.
Is that right? Okay, then the only other thing we have are council rules, but I feel like that needs to be a committee of the whole, and I'm not ready for that.
Mhm.
I'm trying to take a whole summer break. So I will just, does anybody have any suggestions for how we can do that without violating Open Meetings Act? I mean, we could have some kind of a shared document on, with like markups and that kind of thing.
Do we just wanna
Notes.
make it like a,
No,
I don't think we can do that.
you can't, okay,
Ms. Underwood,
yes,
my memory could be wrong, but I think you guys probably need to adopt the ones you already have. Because for some reason, I'm thinking whenever a new council comes on, you have to have your council rules set by a particular date. I could be off a little bit.
you're not off.
So I think
Absolutely
you
correct.
guys are all the way gone past that date,
We have,
so,
that is correct.
so you might wanna adopt what you have and then have a committee of the whole to do new council rules.
See, you're still talking about extra meetings there, over there, Madam Mayor.
You gotta pull your president in and everybody for your council, for the
Well,
committee
if
of
we
the
were
whole.
just, no, forget it.
Okay, well, we'll table that for the moment, and maybe we'll just try to adopt the rules that we have.
Like, I guess somebody make a motion at your next meeting to, I don't know.
Will that make it more difficult to amend them?
No,
Okay.
You just, you wanna be in control.
Which we usually like to be.
You're not right now.
So what?
no, all we need to do to amend them is have a committee of the whole meeting,
Okay.
a whole extra meeting, which, yeah, and then just, work on them. Yeah, so we'll do that. Okay, so any new business from anybody?
I don't think so. I don't have any.
Well, unless there's something, sorry, back, can I back us up for a second?
Sure.
So the current rules in in section 1.1, adoption of the rules, it says the following rules are adopted for legislative years 2018 and 2019 and shall remain in effect upon adoption by council and until such time as amended, rescinded, or suspended.
So we don't have to adopt
Unless
them
there's
every
something
year?
different in the charter. You can keep going.
Okay.
It'll take me a minute to find it.
Okay, so do we have any new business?
All right, Liam.
Okay, still have 15 minutes, so we'll let Mary Jo look through the charter and see if there's something there.
For action items, I'm just gonna put under it that you're reaching out to
Arias
Arias, yeah,
and Mr. Dieters.
and Mr. Dieters. Okay.
Is there a specific section for it? I don't even see,
The charter doesn't govern how you manage council.
but does it tell me how often we have to do it?
No, I thought there was something, I don't know where this is, I just thought I remember reading it, that like at the beginning when we have that organization meeting, we also have to adopt the rules and we have to form the committees and, that's where I can remember reading it. I just,
I'm referring to as well.
okay, I just don't remember where I read it at this present moment, and I didn't bring my charter or my, I didn't bring my paper charter or my paper rules with me. I can look at my digital charter if I wanted to, I suppose. I just thought that that was in there.
It might be, I haven't stumbled upon it yet.
Okay. Well, we'll figure that out, and if it's not in there, great, then we haven't violated anything, and if it is, we'll just adopt the rules that we have. That's what we'll do. Okay, any other new business? Look at us being all efficient today. Okay, well, if all hearts and minds are clear, we will adjourn this meeting now at 7:21 PM, and we'll have a whole 10-minute recess.
That clock is 2 minutes fast. It's 7:19.
Okay, well, we'll have a whole
11.
11-minute recess before we start public safety. Public Safety Committee meeting to order. We all have the agenda, meeting minutes. We'll get that squared away and updated ASAP. Police news. I would like to say that I was on social media and saw a picture of two officers playing basketball with some kids. I thought that was wonderful. I thought that was really great. I think that was.
I also have one too. A lot of people, as they like to do, as we all like to do, were just complaining about little stuff on social media. And as Chief Schran has suggested, I gave them his email, and they reported back to me, and they said that he responded really quickly and was very helpful and had great communication. And I just feel like that's a really great look for us, that when people reach out for help, that it's received and it's given. So thank you to Chief Schran, if you're out there listening, for all the people who I've sent your way for helping them, because I'm sure I've sent one too many.
I'll pass it on to him.
Yes, thank you.
That was wonderful. Do you have any news? Good news.
I do want to apologize for Chief Schran. He has a sick child at home. That's why he's not here.
Oh.
Okay, that's not good news.
No.
I said good news.
Good news is, with the weather getting warmer, we've had a lot of opportunities that we have found to interact with our city youth. We spent some time at the park. If it's nice out, and we go down there and pass out stickers, and a couple of our officers were racing the kids up and down the field. I mean, so these are really good things, and I think it's awesome when the officers exercise that opportunity for a positive interaction with the children. So it's a good thing.
Yeah.
I think that's
I
great.
emailed some of you. Christian Hedger said you all should have got an email with pictures in it as well. I don't know if it was the same one or not.
Okay, I didn't get those, but that's okay.
Okay,
They're great.
We're trying that.
Yes,
Work on
we'll,
that.
we'll get that. That's wonderful. That's
Yeah.
really nice to hear.
As a child development nerd, I know that that is a really great long-term solution for preventing crime too. So I mean, on a public safety side, getting young kids involved in their community early and having a positive relationship with law enforcement is a great way to prevent crime in the long run. So I think that that's a great use of resources and time.
Good.
Yay. Okay. Anybody else? Good news. I want to put that word on there next time. Good news.
Madam Chair, I think
Yes.
when you were inquiring about this prior to the start of the committee meeting. So I did have a few things. Our fire chief is not available this evening, but I will
course.
convey a few good news items
Okay.
that you were asking about. So a couple of things. Number one, we've had two of our firefighters. Well, actually, I'll start with the biggest news, which is that many of you already know, but Kenny Caldwell, who is an assistant fire chief here, was promoted to assistant fire chief because he's a full-time firefighter at the city of Cincinnati. So he was actually promoted to assistant chief there, which is really huge news. Now, what that means for us yet, we're not totally sure, but I have talked to the fire chief, and he's working on grooming someone to take his place, because clearly with the duties that he'll have, I think it won't be long before he's going to have to be pulled away for. But it's good news for us. I think it shows the quality of people that we have that are serving in our fire department.
Congratulations, Kenny Caldwell, if you're
Yes.
watching.
Also, we've had two firefighters who have completed inspector school, so they will be certified fire inspectors. There's going to be a lot of activity going on, renovation activity specifically at the public safety building. And I don't know, I apologize, I walked in a couple of minutes late, so I don't know if Lieutenant Petroselli had indicated that, but as part of the renovation of that building, there's going to be renovation on both the police side as well as the firefighting side. They've already replaced 3 of the garage doors have replaced lighting in the building, but now there's going to be work done on the outside with dealing with the concrete and filling in the cracks and the patches. And so people will just see within a couple months there's going to be a significant difference in the look on the building. And then finally, they are being the fire department, are conducting CPR classes specifically for employees at at North College Hill City Schools. So that's just a few of the things that are going on. Also, they're almost completed with their annual hydrant inspection. So they go around the city, especially during the springtime, and they service all of the fire hydrants in the city. So they're near completion with that.
I'm sorry, what is Kenny's last name? Could you spell it?
Caldwell, Caldwell.
Thank you.
Like the banker.
Thank you.
And that's all I have for that, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Mosby. Okay, so, old business, we've got quite a bit, huh? I'll start with Prospect Place, just because I feel like there may have been some movement on that. When we're doing the loan to fix the other streets, was Prospect Place included in that?
Prospect Place was not included in the money for the loans. Prospect Place was put into our cycle for proposals, and it was given or granted approval for the 50-50 program, basically 50% loan and then 50% grant. So that project should be coming on our cycle in 2023.
I'm sorry,
Okay.
can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Yes, I was mentioning that it was not part of the loan that we were applying for. However, it did receive from ODOT. It received enough points to receive the 50-50 grant. So basically, 50% of the cost will be covered by grant, and then 50% will be covered by loan. We'd be looking at 2023, I believe, for that one.
That's good news. We like that. Talking about our traffic calming study, I'm going to skip down to speed humps. So there's some speed humps installed on what street? Betts? Is that right?
We initiated the installation program when we did start on beds. There are going to be some that are going to be put on Clovernole as well, and then we're also looking at Savannah and Leboido, I believe. So we're looking at and also Clovernook. So we're basically looking at the through streets for the installation of the speed bumps. Yes, I apologize. I failed to mention Simpson.
So you said Clovernole, Clovernook, Leboido, Simpson, and what else? There was one more.
Oh, Savannah, I believe. Right.
Okay. Is that, we're going to try to get those done.
Over the course of the next few months, yes.
Okay. Okay, that sounds kind of wonderful. Okay. All righty.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
Is there any possible way it can be done by the end of May?
Mayor Nichols, can you talk into a mic,
You
please?
have in your microphone. You got it?
I'm sorry, I was asking if there's any possible way it can be done before the end of May, when school gets out.
Oh, yes. Yes.
I ask a question.
Absolutely. Oh, will you introduce yourself? for the committee people out there. We all know who you are, but I didn't introduce you when the meeting started.
All right, I'm Lieutenant Petroselli with the Police Department, and representing the Chief Schran today.
And pull your microphone a little closer.
All
There you
right.
go. Okay, sure. What is your question?
Do we know how many speed humps are going on each street? Is there a number or a distance between? Or?
Right now, it's, we're installing one on each street for right now.
Okay.
'Cause that's what that's what we have. That's what we had ordered.
And the speed humps, can you describe those for those out there in Viewerland?
The speed humps, go across the entire width of the street. They are black and yellow, so they are definitely visible. However, there are also signs that accompany the speed humps. So they are placed prior to when, as a person's driving, they'll be able to see a sign that mentions that there's a speed hump. And I believe that they are 12 inches in width, basically a foot. And I don't remember the exact height right now, but it's a hump that everyone can see, and it's clearly, designed to mitigate speeding.
And are you aware of any differences since the speed hump was installed on beds?
Well, I will tell you that, of course, we don't have, while we don't have like a camera or something that's out there, I will tell you that personally, after I went out and inspected it, and yes, I can tell you that it served there was an immediate effect from the people that were driving. It's a good question, but yes, clearly people saw the sign, they were slowing down at that particular point. If I could actually take this a second step to Lieutenant Petroselli's question, after we get the initial ones installed, we will be probably coming back to council for the next year to order some more, and then also install, second ones on some of those longer streets.
Thank you.
And Lieutenant Petroselli, do you think that that will have any impact on the police vehicles or?
It will have one. It's a big hump, like you said. It will slow you down. You have to slow down to hit it, or you'll be bouncing around the car. So it will slow the response time down, but it's mere seconds, I would believe. It's not a huge detriment to our response time.
Okay.
Yeah, that seems similar to what Chief Fells also told us. As long as there's a responsible driver behind the vehicle, in the vehicle, behind it, in it, whatever, around it, on top of it, something like that. That the vehicle should all be fine, but that it'll just slow response time by, like you said, mere seconds.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay, great. So I also have in there speed cushions. Is that something that we still wanted to talk about, considering we've got the speed humps and it seems to be doing exactly what we needed to do?
I'd be more interested in knowing if that little rumble strip was gonna happen in the median, because we're hearing more and more about people using that as a passing lane versus a turning lane. So like it down the center of Galbraith.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not really on your topic.
I'm gonna
but-
add it to I'll add it to old business, because we've been talking about rumble strips. I didn't put it on there, but so I'll add that, rumble strips. And Mr. Mosby wanted to,
Yeah, I just wanted to just mention something when it comes to that. Clearly, as everyone understands, rumble strips are mitigating. It's a mitigating tool. However, I'm not going to say that it will absolutely eliminate what Ms. Zorb was talking about, because, there's just an element of people who will actually use that middle lane. But I do believe that it will it'll do a couple of things. Number one, especially for people at night, if they're if they're driving and they're dozing off, it'll be able to help them. The person who might attempt to use it as a passing lane will have to go, they'll feel it initially as they're going through. So that may help to mitigate some of it. Those people who intend to use it are going to do what they're intending to do, but I do think that it will help to mitigate a lot of that.
Have we thought about just posting a cop as often as we can on Galbraith, right by like the Ameris stop? Because I know that a lot of the passing happens between the country club and the Ameris stop, at least where I've witnessed it and I've heard people witness it. I mean, have we thought about just posting a cop there for as much as we can, as often as we can, kind of really enforce it right there? I mean, I know Ms. Underwood has brought this up before, but that area over in Glendale by the railroad tracks, I mean, for a really long time, if you went above 25, even if you were just going 27, you got a ticket, and now nobody speeds there. So kind of trying to prevent it like that.
We have done that. We've had officers sit down there, and you could write a ton of tickets. The problem is we're really short-staffed right now, and it's difficult to stay down in one specific area for a length of time long enough to make a difference in the overall, like, don't ever speed there because there's always a cop there.
Right.
We can't always be there. We are there as much as we can. We write a ton of tickets there.
Right.
And there's even a couple I got that are speeding down the center lane. And I've got those, and I always like it when I get those because people are so upset about that, and I
Right.
understand.
Right.
But we just can't sit there long enough
To make a-
make the
yeah.
difference that you're talking
To
about.
become notorious for it, yeah.
Yes, that's correct. But we do sit there.
Lieutenant, I do want to make sure, though, that we're putting that in proper perspective, because can you attest to the fact that actually up to year to date, the number of traffic tickets that have been issued is over last year?
It is over last year.
So we are issuing the tickets
Yes.
and actually more, so more people are getting stopped and cited for traffic violations.
That's correct. We're
Okay.
we have less officers now, and we're still doing more tickets because we're making a concerted effort because we hear the same complaints that you hear. I've even sat over on Hamilton, right on the other side of the street by Sundale, and sat there so they see me more prominently. And you can see the cars visibly slowing down, but then there's still people, I still write tickets like crazy there because people just never slow down. So,
I have noticed also, I know this is not related to that, but I have noticed officers on Norman, because there's a stop sign there that people just pretend doesn't exist. And they just kind of blow through that stop sign, and so I've seen the officers sitting on Norman.
And that
I do
does-
appreciate that,
and that does slow the speed down on Clover Nook,
yeah,
so, yes.
just, yeah, it's kind of insane. Okay, so the rumble strips, so what would be the cost of the rumble strips? Because I kind of, I mean, is it just, and I'm not an engineer, but is it, do they have to repave, or can they just, do they have some kind of tool where they just kind of put grooves in the
No,
concrete that's there?
Yeah, well, I know on Hamilton Avenue, they were doing a repave and then they did put them in. But what I was going to mention is that the SORTA grant process is underway. And so I've talked to our our engineering consultant, and we agreed that we were going to apply for a grant for the western half of Galbraith Road.
Okay,
So as that estimate comes in, so that we can get an estimate, I'll ask them to include that in the cost, and then that way I can give you an idea about what that would be. I think the application is due in June, so we will be working toward getting that dollar amount, and then making sure that our application meets standards, so that we'll be able to get as much money as we can.
You said you're getting sort of money for the rumble, sorry. You said you're getting sort of money for the rumble strips, or attempting to?
Well, we're going, right, so when they do, right, so actually, we're applying for a complete improvement of Galbraith Road, so we would include that as part of that improvement.
Gotcha.
Sorry for all of that noise.
Oh,
It sounds horrible. What I was mentioning is that some of you may remember that the SORTA grant is the result of the passage of the county levy. And so as part of that, SORTA Metro has committed 25% of those revenues to improving infrastructure in the related communities. And since we do have buses that ride over Galbraith Road on the west side, we think that we've got a pretty good chance of getting money for that.
Okay, sounds good. Since you mentioned sorta, this is kind of under new business. I think I didn't put this on the agenda. Have you heard anything about new bus stops or where bus stops will be or bus routes? Because years ago, there were buses that went down Clovernook, but now there aren't. And I think, I had a discussion with someone. If it would take me longer to walk to a bus stop than it takes me to drive downtown to work. So by the time I walk to the bus stop that's closest to my house, and admittedly, I don't walk very fast, but, by the time I walk to a bus stop, it's, I've spent 35 minutes getting to a bus stop. It takes me 20 minutes to drive downtown. So, I'm thinking that's, for me, that's not a very reasonable thing. So I'm just kind of curious about where we are in the process of that.
Well, I think as you rightly pointed out, some of the routes were changing as a result of the countywide levy. However, in order to change a route, they have to go through a pretty extensive process. Title VI, I believe, is what it is. They have to have public hearings, and they have to assess basically the impact of what would happen. And believe me, you and I remember when they took that off of Clovernook very well, because personally it was very convenient for me to just basically, honestly, just jump across the street, get on the bus, and I was able to take the bus downtown. I wouldn't have to drive a car. So I do. I feel that as much as you do, but they have to go through an extensive process. So I have not heard anything so far about any major changes in our routes. I can certainly ask though, just to find out if there is anything in the works for that. Or on the flip side, and I think that I don't want to speak too quickly, but I do think that the installation and the construction of the transit center may have an impact on bus routes coming through North College Hill.
Okay.
I would say that it could potentially have a very positive impact that would benefit our community.
Sounds great. Okay, yeah, no, I've been completely bouncing around. Does anybody else have anything with that, sorta? So I
Plus, do we have any kind of timelines for the transit center? Do we have an update or anything?
Well, the money for that would have to be, the money that is being provided by the federal government would not be available until 2025. So, and that's for the construction. So we have a little time for basically identifying exactly where it's going to go, and then doing all of the diligent planning for that. But we're looking at at least 2 years out at this particular point.
So we wouldn't get the rumble strips for 2 years?
No, I was only talking about the transit center.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Right.
My brain jumped. I'm really sorry. I know what we're talking about. I've been taking notes, I promise. Sorry, my brain jumped for a second. I'm sorry. I knew we were talking about the transit center, and I'm so sorry.
All right. But the money that we are referring, since you were bringing that up, the grant money for that would be available in 2023 if our project is approved. So long story short, 2023 might be a very busy season for us in terms of road improvement, which is a good thing.
Yay, okay. So the only other thing I have on the agenda under old business, I think, is police reporting, but I didn't connect with you guys about police reporting. Do you have any kind of report or anything that you wanted to share with us?
That was my understanding, excuse me, my understanding that he emailed everyone a report. Did you not get an email?
I did not.
I believe he emailed the Madam Chair a report.
I know, oops. Okay, so if there is something in my email, I apologize to you guys, because I don't, well, let me just check my email.
So the answer is yes, we have a report.
Yes, you did.
Yes.
I know you're not gonna have a chance to read it right this minute.
Right.
If there's something that's on there that you don't understand, feel free to let me know, or let us know. We can take care of that. We can answer your questions. If there's something that you're looking for that's not on there, feel free to let us know. We can make sure that you get what you need. Just let us know what it is, and we'll work it out with you.
Okay, well, I will forward that to everyone. We'll have something to talk about during our next committee meeting. I apologize.
You're okay, good.
Emailed.
Don't tell me we're already almost done with the meeting.
I know.
This is the shortest public safety meeting we've ever had.
Ever, huh? So, new business. What do we have under new business? I'm looking at Mary Jo. She always has some new business for us.
I just have a question. I noticed that there's, and I don't even know what to call it, some kind of construction happened in the divider by Bising and Hamilton. It almost looks like there's a new crosswalk in the middle. What's
Yeah, so,
the skinny?
Madam Chair, sorry. All right, so last year, I don't know, some of you may not remember, but we were given a safety grant by the Ohio Department of Transportation. The grant initially, when it was put out to bid, they didn't receive any bids, and so they had to do it again. This is all what is a result of that
Is it
particular
that
project.
safe walking to school thing or
No,
whatever?
it's not
No?
safe routes
It's
to
not
school.
that?
These are
That.
safety improvements that are happening in and around the school district, but it's not part of safe routes to school. This is the specific ODOT safety grant, about $184,000 worth of improvements that are going on.
Are there any more planned in NCH that you know of? that were-
Well, I mean, you'll see a few other things. I believe there's going to be the installation of a beacon where you're talking about at Hamilton and Bising. And then I believe that there are a few other, because if you may have noticed, they also improved the sidewalks at those corners. And so I think there are a couple of other corners that do have to be done. So I was just talking to them via email last week. So it's not totally completed, but I do know that the work, basically the work on Hamilton is done for the most part.
Thank you.
I have a question. Sorry, let me finish typing that real quick. So recently somebody brought up to me that we don't have a lot of, like school signs that say like, school area, slow down to this, whatever. And I mean, I know that we're all 25 anyway, speed limit, but, I'm pretty sure in school zones, isn't it like 20? Yeah. Which I know isn't that big of a deal, but especially because we're mostly pedestrian city and mostly pedestrian school district, I feel like that would be important to look into getting. And I know, like you said, I mean, you literally just said it, we're getting more safety measures around the school and around the pedestrian travels to get to school, but I think the more we can do for that and the safer kids can be, I just don't want it to be, oh, we wait until an accident happens and then we decide to rush and do something, I'd rather do stuff to prevent it now than to.
I actually agree with that. I was thinking that because I drive that route now to my office, which is in North College. And when I drive to work, obviously it's before all the kids are walking to school, but when the kids are walking to school, what I'm noticing is I don't see those same kind of flashing signs that say during school hours, the speed limit is 15 instead of 25. Like something that tells people like, even during school hours, you need to slow down even more. Like it needs to be like you're inching along because they really are kind of, I mean, I think the cross guards do a good job of trying to keep them from darting across the street, but there are little kids going, you know, and little kids are little kids. I mean, so and there's a lot of traffic, so you can't really drive faster than that anyway, but I would still like some kind of, I mean, would that be what would be involved in that?
Right off the top of my head, I think we would have to look at what's in our street budget to see if we have it within our own street budget. Because obviously if we do, then we can, those types of signals we could have installed. And then I have to admit, I don't know the cost of those like right off the bat. So I think that's what we'd have to look. The first thing we need to do is get an estimate of how much it would cost.
Okay.
There used to be signs, I don't know what happened to those signs.
I can probably answer that for you. In 2010, when the new school opened up there, I think it was 2010, prior to that, we had flashing yellow signs.
Yeah, I remember
20
that.
miles an hour, and the difference being there are certain restrictions on how far away the school can be from the street that we're monitoring with that sign. The school is now further away from the street, and I don't know what I don't remember what the number is, but there's a certain number of feet from the school where they can put that actual safety zone for the school. And I'm not sure, I don't recall what that is, but there is one. And I don't know if that was part of the issue where I think the superintendent at that time didn't want the signs back up. He didn't want to buy new signs or something along those lines.
They didn't
And
Well,
wanna buy
don't
the new
those signs come out of the city budget, not the school's budget?
I'm not sure.
There was
Well,
a-
that would be true because the streets belong to the city.
Yeah, so
yes.
the
But we
superintendent.
did have signs up, so I don't know where they went.
Right, so we would have to, we would have to investigate to see how much that would cost. I guess, my understanding though, when I was talking to the superintendent, and, we clearly have an employee from the school district here, but they were interested in trying to get something that will enhance basically exactly what you all are talking about, helping cars to slow down, specifically even more so on Galbraith Road between Hamilton and Simpson, which is obviously a very congested area around school time.
And then initially, when that Safer Route to Schools grant was being talked about, there was a committee that was formed. I was on it, I believe Chief Schran, Cheryl Long. I can't remember who represented the school board, but we looked into that, and if I recall correctly, conversation came up where they wanted to split the cost between the city and the school district, but can't remember why it fell apart. That was many, many years ago. You remember it?
I remember.
Yeah, it was many, many years ago. So they've talked about it in the past. I think the cost and who would foot the bill,
Right.
so to speak.
I don't know, I just think that around the schools and even in the summertime around where we have the sprinkle park, the spray park,
Yep.
because, you're gonna have people parking on the street and, little kids getting out of the car and they just, they're kids. They're gonna, they're excited, they're running across the street. I just want some kind of something that's telling people, slow down and, just drive like your kids, play here, or whatever those signs say.
We've had
know
children
that-
hit before. I mean,
That might be a good suggestion, maybe we put one of those speed humps right by the splash pad.
Yeah.
Or traffic light.
That would be a good idea. I also think Hamilton Avenue is, no one goes 25 on Hamilton Avenue, and
You get run off the road if you do.
you do. And when those children are out walking, they're walking, the street is here, and the sidewalk is right next to it.
Right.
And they're walking in groups, and kids, I mean, my biggest fear is someone's gonna jostle somebody,
and
and they're
they
gonna knock them
fall
into the
over,
street.
right.
They're right
Oh,
there.
yeah.
Yeah.
And no one's going 25. you
No.
know,
Absolutely.
so-
Just, if we have those flashing yellow lights again during school hours, you gotta,
Right.
some
And I mean-
people will slow down.
I could be wrong, but I think what I forget who was just saying it with the how far away it is from the school. I think, yeah, what you were just saying with how far away it is from the school. I think because the parking lot would still count as the school's ground, and same with that like big green area on Hamilton. So I don't think that would really matter as much, because it's technically, I mean, that grassy area is still school ground, especially with what they have outside now, those big awnings, as that's considered an outdoor classroom. So I think that would count as the,
Yeah, I was
as the
thinking
area.
that, but I didn't know for sure, because it's been so long since I've looked at it.
right,
I thought it might have been from the corner of the building to the street, or maybe the school I'm not sure which it is.
Yeah.
Because that will make a huge difference, like you said. If it's the
Right.
driveway, that's a whole different thing.
right,
So
right.
the elementary would be closer to any street.
Yes, yes, because the schools used to be right on,
Yeah.
almost right on
Yeah.
Hamilton and Galbraith, so it was a much different thing then. So there's a lot in between now, so it's worth looking into, definitely, for the safety of
Unless you
that.
consider Trojan Way, but, I mean, it's technically a street, but
It is cool, yeah, it used to be cooler, right.
if you base it off of that, I mean, that's pretty close. That's runs into the middle school.
Right. That's the one that's by St. Mary, right? By Swad? No?
That's the elementary.
That's Grace.
Okay, thank you.
Skyline.
Oh, okay,
Primers,
right, okay.
Okay. All right, so, Mr. Mosby, you'll check that out for us?
Yes, I can do that. I was gonna give you one more update. You may not think of it as public safety, but actually it is, and I'll explain it in a moment. Some of you may have noticed that, because I know I did get a text of interest, because someone was asking about the cutting of the trees in Wise Park. So, we began the process of removing those trees. I bring that up here, though, because I know that I had heard some concerns that people have expressed for a long time about nefarious activity going on that is difficult to see. So we are taking steps to remove that, and part of that is the removal of these trees. They are big trees. One of them is dead. The other is dying, and so that will make the view a little clearer. I shouldn't say little. It'll be a lot clearer. And then we're going to look at also what we're going to do with those bushes. So the whole point being is that while it's in the process of being renovated, it'll be more visible, especially for our police as they're driving by as well. So we're going to take steps to try to mitigate that as well.
Are we looking looking into putting any lights into
Actually, yes. That is going to be part of, so the CIC, who has graciously undertaken this project, has been very assertive in raising awareness and beginning to raise money for the project. But yes, lights are going to be part of that.
lights like the ones on Galbraith, the old street lamp type lights or something?
No, I have to get the details on what kind of lighting it is. It's not, you're talking about the decorative lighting?
Yes.
No, it's not that lighting.
Gas
This will be
light looking
something,
thing.
right.
I have a
This will be
question.
something different.
I know in a lot of, like in a lot of downtown areas, I mean, everywhere from, downtown Hamilton, which is really cute and family friendly, to downtown Clifton, which is a lot more of a younger crowd. So I don't think it has much of a notorious aspect to it. I know that a lot of streetlights now come with that panic button that you can go up to and press. And I feel like that might be a good process, as we're switching out our street lamps, we might as well start including technology and safety measures like that. Is that something that we could look into?
Yeah, I mean, we could certainly look into it. I have to find out how much that would cost, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Especially if they're going to be more bus stops in the near future. 10 years is pretty near future for government. So I think that would be a good step for overall public safety as well.
Mr. Chair, may I?
Absolutely.
You mentioned the replacing of the streetlights. Are we looking into doing any kind of replacing of streetlights anywhere?
We are. We've already
Yeah.
done an initial assessment. I'm sorry. I'm kind of chuckling because we have 44 of the decorative street lamps that Councilmember Underwood was referring to. That cost for us to do that has been estimated at about $70,000 for us to replace those. So we know the cost. Now we just have to find the money.
Oh, yeah. I was actually referring to the streetlights in the subdivisions. I mean, we looked into replacing a couple of the streetlights around the bar area on Savannah because
Oh,
it's so
okay.
dark there.
Right.
And it's like $3,500 to replace the street lamp itself, to put a new fixture up there.
Oh my
But they're so much brighter because the current streetlights that are there are from 1975. And you can upgrade the bulb in it to an LED bulb for about $500, which would be a lot brighter than it currently is.
Funny, we've been talking about that.
Because it's
Yeah, I've been
dark.
talking about that.
It is dark all over, especially the southwest is really dark. And the lamps are, just to upgrade them, I know it's $500 a light, that's a lot of money, but just to do that would be, I think, a huge detriment to crime in the area. We do have a lot of crime that runs through there with people trying the door handles and breaking into cars, and those crimes of opportunities that are like that. And the darkness is their friend, and anytime we can remove that, that would be beneficial.
Well, I can reach, I mean, I think if we were doing like I would consider that to be like a spot improvement, which I think we probably could do. I mean, I'll need to talk to our finance manager just to see, what we have as far as, but I think we should have enough in our street budget in order to take care of that. That would be, I think, in that case, that is actually a very good use of those funds, particularly in the area that you were just referring to.
Right, that area there
Right.
specifically
I would agree.
around the bar would be
Yep.
much helpful, much helpful.
I agree.
Okay. Any other new business?
I'm sorry, do we know what that bar and restaurant is called? Just so I don't have to put bar in our minutes.
It's Good Brothers, which is
Oh,
one.
Good Brothers.
Good Brothers, thank you.
Yeah,
Grown folks.
and grown folks, thank you.
Grown folks still open?
Both of them are open.
Well, grown folks is struggling, but they are.
But I mean, they're still open.
They are still open.
Yeah.
At one point, the owner of Good Brothers was talking about, or was looking to work with the city to split the cost of upgrading the lighting in the area, because they don't want the problems at their bar either.
Right, I mean,
Yeah.
that's bad press for them,
And that's why they have us there almost every night, or every night of the week, they have a detail there.
right?
And,
Isn't that the gentleman on, sorry, I'm gonna cut you off.
no, but right there at Good Brothers, they pay us every night, and they were at one point talking about working with the city to upgrade the lighting in the area, but the city wasn't able to work with them at that time due to funding. But maybe it's worth a reach out again to see if we can facilitate that. That would be nice.
That sounds like something we could probably work on and get done fairly quickly, right, Mr. Mosby?
As long as and I don't see any reason why the lights wouldn't be available, so it probably should be.
I mean, because that's just one small,
Correct, that's what I was saying
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
We're just looking at like that spot,
right?
that would be a spot improvement, which I think we could get done.
Actually, we were looking at the one right over the bar, right there, leaving that one alone, but replacing the ones down to the end, because we're sitting right there for the most part, and that one's not as dull as the other ones.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, when I had my discussion with Duke, they actually showed an example, not in our city, but they showed an example of the LED lighting and the difference it makes in a particular community in the city of Cincinnati. And to your point, Lieutenant, it made a huge difference. The amount of visibility that, and the amount of light, that LED emits from incandescent is just, it's a world of difference. It's a world of difference.
1975 to today.
Yeah. So,
Sure.
that's a good point.
Okay.
Did you have a question, Ms. Mayor?
Oh, no, I was trying to think if it was the same owner. It's the same owner from before.
It is the same owner, yes. Yes.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I think I've heard several things, and I thought I knew what was going on, but now I think I'm fuzzy. The $70,000 for the light upgrade, is that for the streetlights?
It's for the black, I'm calling them decorative lamps,
So it's not the normal streetlights?
not the ones that are higher. No, the older wooden ones, we're not talking about those. We were talking about the decorative street lamps.
Oh, that's not what I've ever thought that was.
I don't think.
Yeah, that's what he told us at the last City Community Development Recreation Committee, because then we talked about doing it, like, instead of all 70 in one year, maybe doing it in a 7-year chunk and, doing 10,000 each year.
I was always talking about the real streetlights, because that's why I mentioned to do it when a street gets repaved, because those lights aren't everywhere.
Okay, so we've
So
all
I
been talking about
very
different
much-
lights this
yeah, I
entire
was-
time.
I must not have been clear at all about what I
Yeah,
was talking about. 'Cause
I was always talking about those kind of,
the decorative
what
ones.
I call frou-frou lights.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's
see.
what I always thought we were talking about too.
I was never talking about them.
Oh, okay. We were clearly not on the same page
They're
there.
not.
Yeah, because the frou-frou lights are just completely not even helpful to me.
But
They're very pretty.
that, to me, that's the whole point, is they can be there and they can look pretty, but they don't have to be as functioning as what I'm gonna call the Duke lights, the street lights.
Those lights
That's-
are Duke lights, so I need to
Well,
make
I-
that clear.
Sure,
Um,
but.
But they will, I mean,
The other ones are,
but the LED lights that Lieutenant was referring to, he's absolutely correct. If we put those lights into those, you call them, I'm calling them the decorative lamps, though it makes a huge difference even on Galbraith Road. It will make it'll make a world of difference.
Right.
So,
And then I guess I look at 10 years down the road when we're trying to do some beautification to that district. I mean, I see both ways, but I think if you start, something small changes
Right.
the whole
Yeah.
thing.
Start somewhere.
Right.
I think-
I would love to start over by those bars where
Yes.
there clearly needs to be some kind of a change.
So, but these are two different projects we're talking
Right,
about. So the
absolutely.
ones over by the bars would be the actual big, tall street lamps, street lights, and the one on Galbraith would be a separate project. Obviously, we want to be able to change all of the super old big street lights, but changing those black frou-frou LED into LEDs would also be nice eventually, but I mean, yeah, it doesn't have to be done in a day. That's, I feel like, a project that could be done over 10 years. But I think that the ones in Savannah, I agree. I think that needs to be done ASAP. I don't think that that's a project I want to wait 10 years to see to fruition.
Is there something that you need council to do? Okay.
we can go ahead and get started.
Can I ask one more question while we're talking about streetlights on the Galbraith?
Absolutely.
The bricks that are, the paving bricks that are there in the driveways and sidewalks, are we working on fixing some of those? I don't,
Yes, Marty already has a plan in place to start to replace those during the spring and summer.
good.
What do you mean paving bricks? I'm not sure what you're saying.
He's talking about the bricks that are as part of the sidewalks, as you are coming, they're like the
They're at the
transition
crosswalks.
ramp bricks that are on the in between the street and the sidewalk. So when you're crossing a sidewalk, especially in the central business district, we have pavers and some of the pavers are actually in the street as well, especially on Simpson. So he's talking about in those places where there are bricks that are missing and things like that. So
Oh,
that's
okay.
what he's-
I see.
Yeah, there are a lot. I go to SWAD at least once a week, and there's like a huge chunk missing over there.
Well, they're getting more and more now that there's a hole there, you could reach down and pick up a brick And
Oh,
that's not a
gosh.
that's not a good thing either. So
No.
talk about crimes of opportunity, that's what that is.
Oh,
geez.
gosh.
And the safety issue of stepping in those holes, both of those things are problems we should be looking at. And apparently he is, so good. Good, good.
Okay.
Am I part of the new
Other
business with the
new
cruisers?
business?
Uh, I do have one more question. I don't know when I was supposed to talk about this. It's not
Okay.
not on the
Okay.
agenda,
Well,
so.
I see you're new to this meeting, so I'm going to tell you that I don't allow us to be dragged past 8:30, so, okay.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, I will be short and sweet then.
That's okay.
Short and sweet then.
But keep, you have plenty of time.
Yes.
But not a lot of time. You don't have an hour.
I understand. We, at the police department, currently, we have 4 working cruisers for patrol. And we're getting 2 more, and we purchased 2 more, they're getting equipped at this time. We should be getting them shortly. However, our plan was to start a rotation of leasing of vehicles, doing like 2 per year.
Okay?
And, which seems reasonable, and that would keep us on a track of keeping good maintained vehicles on the road.
That would be helpful.
However, in order for us to get a car in 2023, we'd have to order it now. We'd have to order the car, which is a letter of intent saying that the council authorizes us to purchase a vehicle in 2023, but we have to give that intent letter now to get our name on
Do
the
you
list.
have some information for us?
What do you need?
What do you need us to do?
I need,
I think, Madam Chair, the reason he's bringing this up is because although we're not in the budget stage yet, what they're doing is trying to make sure the council is aware that we need to commit now to order it so that we can have it we can have our order in the system, because unfortunately, and I'm sure you probably are very aware of this, but
Okay,
with the supply chain being.
I am all on board with you guys. However, my colleagues and you know us, right? So you need to give us some kind of piece of paper or something with all of this information on it. And I think that the more quickly we have that piece of paper, the more quickly then we can kind of talk about it and answer questions and get you to make sure that you have what you need to get your cruiser.
I can do that. Will tomorrow be soon enough for you?
When,
I should-
as quickly as you can get that to me, I will get it to everybody else, because that way we can, we can start generating the questions, because there will be a lot of questions.
I have a question, actually. So, just for the notes, you said that this is for the 2023 budget, but we have to intent now.
Correct. You have to write the letter now. It takes 8 to 12 months to get the vehicles ordered.
Right.
You have to put your name on the list now with your letter of intent.
Right.
Or authorization to purchase from a council.
Right.
And so that requires like a resolution, I guess.
I thought we were moving to leasing.
We are.
That's what we're
leasing.
doing.
That's what we're talking about.
You just said purchase.
Lease the
Okay, it's
purchase.
leasing. I misspoke if I said that.
No, you're okay. I didn't mean to be a snooty about it. I just was genuinely confused because
We are definitely leasing. We're-
Okay, just making sure.
And we're looking at, I can give you some numbers, that are quick. It's $7,000 to $8,000 per year is what we anticipate
Piece of
the
paper,
cost.
piece
Yeah,
of
I get
paper.
you.
There you go.
This is
We'll do
lease.
that.
Yes, that way we have it on the piece of paper that says lease, and we have to commit now and pay so that we pay then. So all of that information is on this document, so that when when there are questions, as there will be questions, and also send a person, any person, a warm body, to answer those questions.
That we can do.
I will just encourage that ahead of time, that way, because it sounds like there has to be a fast turnaround for this letter of intent.
Yes.
Do you know the deadline or when that needs to be done?
There's no specific deadline. It's just the longer you wait, that pushes it farther back into the next year. And I don't know if our cars will make it that long. So the sooner we can get them ordered, the better off we will be.
I'm just,
Yeah.
I'm
So I'll-
trying not to picture a police vehicle broken down.
I've
I
seen
know
it.
this really great guy who fixes bikes in North College Hill. I'm sure you could borrow one.
Actually, we did have,
I won't.
police bicycles for a minute.
We did,
Do we still
yeah.
have them?
They actually were so old, they weren't able to maintain them any longer. But we did use them up until the time they weren't, functional any longer.
I remember that at the St. Montgomery Festival. You guys would ride them around.
Yep, that's correct.
I remember that.
Add that to my agenda too, police bikes. Okay. Any more new business?
Can you give me a list of the action items to put on here?
Yes. Lieutenant Petroselli is going to send us information about the new cruiser, as well as what he needs for us to do in order for us to get the letter of intent ready to go. Also, Mr. Mosby is going to look at the spot improvement over by Good Brothers, his brother's bar.
Savannah and Sunday.
Nicely done.
On Savannah.
Savannah and Sundale.
Thank you.
I just went over there to look, and I was like, they've been saying Good Brothers all this time. That's not what it's called at all. Just. And I think Mr. Mosby was going to look at the cost of the flashing light signs for the school zones. Did I miss something?
I don't think so. Mosby will look into the cost of school zone safety signs, investigate the spot improvement on Savannah and Sundale. Petroselli will send information about new cruiser. Yep, I think we're good.
Okay. Anything else from anybody else? Okay. It is 8:28. And this meeting, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all very much.